So this has been in my mind for about a few, I guess a few days now, or at least a week from now. I've been meaning to talk about this for quite a while, and this is about a fan-made live action animated, well, not animated, but live action series called Pokemon Pals. Now, this is basically it's a parody, a non-profit parody to Pokemon to the Pokemon series. Mainly, the Indigo series, although we do see, some other people in it, like for example, we see, characters from the original Pokemon series, like we see Ash, Misty, and Brock, the original team that appeared from Indigo League and through Johto. Although they do include other characters like from the Advanced series, Diamond and Pearl series, etc. While I can say it's really upsetting that Ash is leaving Pokemon after being, in the TV series for 25 years. I mean, a lot of fans of Pokemon are pretty upset in the animated series to see that Ash was leaving. So, I thought I would go ahead and basically give out a bit of history with this fan-made series. This fan-made animated series came out sometime around 2010, like between 2010 and to the around mid-late 2011. Pokemon Pals is basically takes place 8 years since Ash started becoming the ultimate Pokemon Master. And the person who creates this series goes by Nathaniel Paul Hitz. He makes pretty awesome content. He makes pretty good content. I've seen his content. I watch his content from time to time. He makes pretty good videos. I wonder if Nathaniel Paul, who's basically Ash Ketchum, the writer, director, editor, and producer of the series, which I wouldn't be surprised if he took some film courses, like courses of filming, main stuff, and etc. I mean, they're really creative when it came to this series, because I actually only started watching this series, I believe, back when I was 13 years old. I think it was 2012, early 2012 when I came across it. And that's when I'm sitting there and looks interesting. So I started watching this fan-made series, and I honestly thought it was pretty good. I mean, despite that there is some humor in it, which I will be getting to in a little bit, it was still a pretty good series. It kind of reminded me of the actual Pokemon series, although I haven't watched the original series in years. But it's still a pretty good, fun series. It's fan-made and animated, but I personally like it. Now, for those who are Pokemon fans, probably have seen it or came across it at one point. So, I thought I honestly would, bring it to attention. Now, Pokemon Pals series, unfortunately, have not gotten, another season, like season 3 or more episodes of it, because I personally wished that they did, because it would have been an awesome, continuation of the series. I mean, of course, it's pretty interesting and well made. I honestly still thought it was really cool, to have the actors play, certain characters. Like, we have actors and actresses that plays, male and female characters. We also have, some effects of the series. I mean, I really like how they made, special effects of the series when they made it fan-made. For example, they made Pikachu's lightning look really, really amazing. I think they had, some sort of video editing software or something to, edit those special effects and that in. They, of course, did some other parodies, like they did a Teen Titans have a Dragon Ball Z parody, which I thought that one was pretty cool. Modern Day, that 70s show parody. And I think they also did a Batman, Man and Robin series at one point, if I remember correctly. If not, I'll have to, take a look at that. But of course, they did upload, but of course, sometime later, I think the last time they uploaded was Pokemon Pals by Butterfree unofficial manga. And I think there was like a bit of a hiatus until later on. Nathaniel Paul Hitz is now back to uploading again, probably whenever he get the opportunity. I think he just took some hiatuses, time off from the internet, because he probably just needed to focus on his life. I mean, I'm not sure how old the actor for Ash Ketchum is, but they do have really amazing content that was on the channel. And it's still on the channel. I mean, Nathaniel Paul Hitz has like 20 free K subs. So, I mean, I recommend you go subscribe to Nathaniel Paul Hitz if you haven't. He makes pretty good content. When I first came across it, I honestly didn't even know if it was going to be good or not. I was confused, but also curious about it. So that's when I started watching the series. And when I started watching the Pokemon series, there was a great opportunity to, see and look more into the series. So now that I'm an adult, I started looking a little bit more into the series. I think they got their inspiration to maybe make a parody of it, but in this one, however, they did include some themes that are a little NSFW. I mean, some of the episodes did contain some mature themes to it, but I honestly have to say, the series right here that is online it's fan-made animation, because you will never hear Ash saying, the F word or the S word or anything like that. And Team Rocket in that one ends up going, beyond crazy. Like, they become, psychopaths that, go insane, like they're either on drugs or they end up, killing somebody in the most brutal way. Because I remember in episode 31, Jesse and James went as far as killing somebody. I mean, it's fan-made animation. You don't obviously see the person that Team Rocket kills die in that episode because you don't see it. But they give you a kind of like the idea of what's supposed to happen. So the series, I can definitely say, it has some pretty messed up content in some of the episodes. Like, some of it does contain, swearing, which, of course, the original Pokemon series never had swearing. And there was a bit more violence in it. Like, I think there was a few scenes where it involved blood. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know it's based on an anime, and anime does contain blood in most of the series. But I guess it depends on what series, pretty much, what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. The series pretty much kind of had, like, it's basically it's a parody. I mean, the humor of it is a little NSFW at some episodes. Like, there was one episode where Brock and Nurse Joy were in the back room, and I'm not really going to go into too much detail on what they actually said because it's not ad friendly, but they were going to go at it. Basically, leave it at that. They were basically going to go at it, but until Misty stopped them just in time. I mean, the way they made the characters, like, the characters kind of acted out of character in the series, which, I mean, I understand, why they ended up doing this. They ended up changing the characters a little bit, to make it like they're acting out of character at certain parts. I mean, this takes place, where they're all adults. And what's really weird is that Ash ends up not knowing what sex is. He had no clue on what that is, what it all means. You guys probably understand what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but I honestly found it funny that Ash has literally no brain on what everything is, and he thinks, it's, just about Pokemon that is always on his brain. I mean, some of the jokes in there are a little messed up as well. That I know some of the jokes in the series is kind of messed up. I mean, some of them do portray some really messed up subject matters that I'm not going to be mentioning exact names. One of them being pretty messed up. Like, most of them are pretty messed up, if that makes any sense. Now, when I first watched the series, I honestly didn't know why some of the characters were, saying this or that. But surprisingly, the series wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought it was honestly not going to be, as good as I was expecting. But, however, though, the series was actually quite decent. I mean, it was pretty well made, especially for a parody. And, seeing the NSFW, jokes and some of the themes of it, I mean, it's basically not for kids. Like, this kind of fan-made series is definitely something that is not for kids because of the humor in it itself. The humor of it kind of reminds me a bit of Family Guy in it. I could definitely say some of it kind of has a bit of Family Guy humor. Not crazy where it would be like South Park's humor. I mean, some of it does contain stuff that South Park would add. Like, some of the jokes that were used in it is kind of like South Park. Some of it is, but most of it's kind of like how Family Guy would portray it and all. I mean, it's still a very funny parody that Nathaniel managed to, put all the characters together. I mean, the actors in it did pretty good job acting, the certain characters. Like, I like the actress for Misty and Jessie. Like, I know Jessie had, I think, 2 or 3 other actresses, but they did pretty good job too. Although the original Jessie at the beginning of the Pokemon Pals series did pretty good job. I mean, she actually acted like how Jessie would act. I mean, seeing that this fan-made series was well done and detailed, I honestly really thought that it was a pretty good series. It still is. And there is a full, playlist of this series on YouTube, so you guys can feel free to check out the series. There is a playlist saying Pokemon Pals episodes, so you guys can always have a look at that. I do recommend it. I thought it was pretty well made in detail, and I honestly really liked it. I mean, despite the funniest things that I've seen, it honestly was well made in detail. I mean, it's kind of messed up at parts, yes, but I still personally thought it was really well done, and it kind of is pretty much canon to the show. Most of the stuff that was involved in it, although most of it was kind of fan-made series. Like, I remember one episode where Misty was, like, possessed or something. She started having, abnormal behavior and all. It honestly was still a pretty good, episode. Although there is a few other episodes that I found them to be pretty good. Like, I remember one episode where, Ash gets his Pokemon license suspended. And, that was because he was trying to catch a Ditto or something. I mean, it's kind of silly in reality that the humor of it is pretty much, crazy, silly. But, of course, the humor is what it is. It's basically kind of like a humor where it's kind of like all crazy and making all the characters ended up acting, the way they're not supposed to act. I mean, the original Pokemon series don't do that, but in this fan-made series, they went that far because they honestly really thought it was cool to, maybe just make the humor a little bit more NSFW. I mean, it's not totally NSFW like the Barney Bunch humor, because the Barney Bunch humor, they go beyond the top NSFW, but yeah. That humor is pretty much akin to South Park and the Barney Bunch, but in this one, the humor is kind of like Family Guy, in a sense, because some of the themes are a little NSFW. Even some of the content of it does contain some really messed up jokes, but they're there for a reason. It's basically humor it's basically dark humor too. And by the way, they do have dark humor in these series as well, which I thought it was pretty something. I mean, I never expected it to have, dark humor, but it has dark humor in it, which I mean, I don't personally have an issue with dark humor as long as it doesn't go too far, that is. Because, well, back then when I was younger, I didn't really like dark humor, but now I just don't mind it as long as it doesn't go too far. That's all it really matters. Like, as long as it's not offending someone that I'm associated with or offending anybody in general. I mean, it's just a bunch of, it's fan-made series. It's just a bunch of, cartoon characters being, in live action form. I mean, the best one they've done was, the Scooby-Doo live action movies. Those ones were pretty good. With Pokemon Pals, they did a pretty good job making the characters look, pretty amazing, but although they aged them up to like at least 18 or something, maybe a bit over. I don't really know how old they actually are, but I know for a fact that Ash is leaving Pokemon, which is honestly depressing, but I honestly still find this to be a pretty good series. I mean, it's a fan-made series, but I still find it to be fun to watch. Now, you guys can go and subscribe to Nathaniel Paul Hits if you like his content, because I recommend you guys do that, because his content's pretty good. I mean, I've watched his content. He makes pretty good content as well. He does have a Facebook page, though, which I'm not going to link it down here. But for those of you who have, because most of you guys don't really have Facebook, I do, but it's a personal one that I don't feel comfortable giving out in the public, because it's got, it's my personal account. So, yeah. But with that being said, I recommend you guys check out this fan-made series. And if you don't like satire comedy, well, it's not really satire so much, but some of it is. If you don't like dark humor or the humor that is in the Pokemon Pals and all that, I completely respect your opinions. I've got nothing against you if you don't like this series or if you don't like the humor that is implemented in it. I mean, some of the humor in it is implemented in a mature kind of way in the series, like I said before. But despite that, I still really can say right now that the actors did a really amazing job, and Nathaniel Paul Hits, I highly doubt he'd come across this video, but if he ever did, that would be awesome if he ever did. But I will say right now, I really enjoy, these kind of series. It's funny, too, I could definitely say. Some of it is NSFW, yes, and it does have some mature themes here and there, but it's still funny. I mean, it's not involving real people. Well, it's basically live action actors. It's basically actors portraying the characters to make them look like they're, all this and that. So it's fan-made series. So you could definitely see there is a difference between this, fan-made and real life. This is just all fan-made, and they kind of portray the characters doing some really messed up stuff. I mean, some of it is kind of messed up, and some of the content they have used in it is kind of, I want to say kind of like Rocka Rocka. Well, some of the effects they use kind of reminded me a bit of how Rocka Rocka does. If you remember, I made a video explaining my thoughts on Rocka Rocka, and I did say the humor and all that was kind of messed up, but even then, though, Rocka Rocka's content, it goes beyond crazy messed up, but I still enjoy their content. And Nathaniel Paul Hits right here makes pretty good Pokemon Pals content. I do wish he make more videos, though, on Pokemon Pals, like maybe, I don't know, like in third season or something. I mean, that would be awesome, but we don't really know if he's going to make more of the Pokemon Pals series or something. I mean, if he kind of, lost interest in the ideas or anything, that's understandable, because I'm pretty much like that when it comes to story writing, because, when it comes to story writing, I have, an idea in my mind for a story one day, and then the next day it's not there, or suddenly it's just not there completely, and I lose interest. Yeah, that does happen from time to time, especially with me, because, well, I have an autistic mind, so nothing really much I could do about it. But anyways, with that being said, this has been going on for like 20 minutes now, so I don't really have really much to say, but I can say right now that I still watch this Pokemon Pals series, and I mean, I still watch it from time to time. I know it's got some dark humor in that, but I can handle dark humor depending on what it is, and I do know for a fact that it's just a fan-made series. Like, it's not, infringing the original copyright of the people that made Pokemon. So, with that being said, and that being the case, if you guys like this fan-made series, I respect your opinion. If you don't like it, I understand, and I respect your opinion as well. So, for those who have not seen it, I recommend you guys check Pokemon Pals out, and I also recommend you guys check out Nathaniel Paul Hits. He makes pretty good content, and it's pretty good. So anyways, I guess with that being said and that being the case, I'm going to sit here and wrap up this video right now, basically saying, feel free to leave me what your thoughts on Pokemon Pals are in the comments below. And if Nathaniel Paul Hits ever comes across this video, that would be awesome. But although I highly doubt he would, because he's like not really big like Markiplier, but he's kind of like a somewhat big YouTuber. He's got like 23K subs. I mean, some YouTube communities are trying to cancel the Barney Bunch, but that's just a different story. But YouTube, on the other hand, is really starting to go after some of the fan-made episodes, either getting age-restricted or the fan-made episodes of whatever franchise gets taken down for, that it's, got, taken down due to sexual content violation, hate speech, or whatever. But that's a different story. I mean, with this series, I do remember, I think, a few episodes of Pokemon Pals did get age-restricted. I remember one of them was age-restricted, and I can't remember what it was, but one of the episodes of Pokemon Pals did get an age restriction. And I think there was a few other ones that did get age-restricted as well, but I don't really remember. So, that's all I can really say. Anyways, what did you guys think of, Nathaniel Paul Hits and his Pokemon Pals fan-made series? Do you enjoy them? Did you not? Also, let me know what you think of it in the comments below, like the fan-made Pokemon episodes or Nathaniel Paul Hits, the content creator. Feel free to leave me now what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I am the Lion Queen. I want to thank you so much for watching today's episode, and if you're new to my channel, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, I'll be seeing you all in the next video, and like always, if I am missing anything that I did explain about this series that I didn't get to, or Nathaniel Paul Hits, let me know in the comments below if I happen to miss anything, but I think I got most of it covered, so if you guys want to correct me on some information if I'm not correct about something, feel free to let me know in the comments below. So anyways, roll the outro, because I'm out of here, and I'll be seeing you all next time.